Welcome back to the Purple Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Rick.
And it's that time of the week when Rick and I sit down to go through the headlines.
In the current media landscape, everything is printed in red or blue. Ben and I try to find the purple area between the lines.
We ask questions, apply logic, and discover what stories were written by the headline heroes.
Just like the news, we're not always right and we don't always agree, but we always look for some sort of common ground.
Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment or send an article you'd like us to discuss over at purplepoliticspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or at Rick and Ben on Twitter. It's that time of the year again, Rick. What day is it?
Oh man, it is tax day.
Tax day. Hope you guys all got your taxes filed.
Yeah, hide your kids, hide your pets, hide your wallet. Uncle Sam's coming for your cash.
Yep. Not only that, Uncle Sam wants to make sure you pay to pay them their cash.
Oh yeah, you gotta love that. Yeah.
So yeah, right now, Democrat of Representative Richard Neal of Massachusetts, and remember this name for later, he supported a bill, and Republicans did too, to make it permanent program that bars the IRS from ever developing its own online tax filing service, which would ultimately mean free tax prep for the citizens. And not only free tax prep, but there would be free automatic fill-ins. So it would have the paper right there, and it would have your tax information that your business you work for has already filed for you, which would just make it easier. And I get conspiracy theorists would be like, well, that doesn't give you a chance to go against them. You know, the government could fuck you that way. Which
then don't use the service.
Which you go to a prepper.
Go to Intuit or TurboTax, H&R Block, one of them places. Do your taxes. Pay to have your taxes done.
Exactly.
This is for people that may be struggling friggin' life. That we're all paying taxes. If the IRS wants to do your taxes for free, I say if you don't mind them doing your taxes, then God bless you. Have them done.
And you know what? There are free tax services for people that make under X amount of dollars.
Right.
And they're run by H&R Block, the companies that you mentioned, but they don't advertise those things.
Yeah, why would they?
Right. And that's actually one of the criticisms is that who was it? Just critics of the program say that the companies use it as a cross-marketing tool and to upsell paid products, that they don't actually they deliberately, quote unquote, under promote the free option. That's not the company's job. The company's job is to make money.
Right.
And making money is why these companies are in Washington lobbying to keep this bill down.
This is bullshit. This is why lobbyists shouldn't be up there.
And we talk about lobbyists all the time.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I said, remember this guy's name, Richard Neal. He became the Ways and Means chair this year after the Democrats took control of the House. He received $16,000 in contributions from Intuit and H&R Block in the last two election cycles. So just that alone shows you that the people benefiting from his votes and his programs are the people paying to get, and I'm not going to say donating, they are paying to get him elected.
Right. Now, here's the thing. This is what I see. If you want to allow lobbying, fine, go right ahead. But you know what? These companies that sent money to his campaign that he took, why don't they do something like this? All right, let's say I support you. Okay, you're running for an office. I support you, and I give you $20,000 to run. Now, should I be able to call in a favor?
Should you?
Yeah.
Legally, no.
Okay, well, there you go. Legally, no.
Right.
Right? Okay. So why, if this guy is in charge of Ways and Means, he shouldn't be able to judge on anything for anybody who's lobbied and paid to get him elected?
100% agree. It's
a conflict of interest.
Right. If it shows that these companies have paid to get you elected, you should be wiped from anything dealing with
right out of it.
Tax preparers.
You want to know why? Because here's what will happen. These guys will pay attention to who's donating to their campaigns, and they can refuse funds.
Yep.
They can refuse funds. It's not against the law. They can give the campaign money back.
Now, here's my thing. We've already kind of touched on it a little bit. Would this actually kill the industry? Are corporations, multi-million-dollar corporations, not going to use a tax? And obviously, they're not going to use H&R Block and Intuit.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not using them either.
Right, but those taxpayers that can use the free thing, they must make less than $66,000 and have access to the software. So what I see happening is H&R Block, they're feeding off of the poor.
Right, absolutely.
Because these people can't get the software.
Right.
Even though I'm sure there is a way, and we could figure out a way.
Oh, yeah.
And the people making over $66,000, they aren't going to want to do it for free because they're the ones getting deductions and stuff,
Yeah.
which is another thing we'll talk about later.
Well, hold on. Let me put this in a check real quick before I forget my point. So the government wants to do a free service for people through the IRS to get their taxes done. That doesn't mean it's mandatory. You have to use it.
Right.
So in return, TurboTax, H&R Block, Intuit, people like that are lobbying to make this against the law.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay. This is, I'm going to put it into context. What do poor people qualify for when they get food? They get cheese, milk, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like
What if the milk industry and the cheese industry, after this happens, decides to sue and say that the government can't give free cheese and free milk because it interferes with them? Where does it start? Where does it end?
Yeah,
I got you thinking.
No, because I need to say this because I mean that's a little bit different because the milk and cheese places, they're not going to say that because they're getting money from it. Just like H&R Block, what they would be against, the milk and cheese places, would be the government creating a
milk and cheese company
and then giving that for free. Right. That's what it's like. That's why I was thinking. I was trying to figure out how to.
Well, let's put it back into context. The IRS has been around longer than H&R Block and Intuit and all these companies. So they've already been doing this taxation accounting. And I say, if there's a free service out there for people to use now, most are unaware of it. Big companies, you think Amazon, this was just in today, Amazon made $10 billion last year and paid zero in taxes.
We're going to be bringing up Amazon in a little bit too.
But my question is are they really losing Amazon's business? These aren't the types of businesses. Like you say,
they're only
these are
losing
poor
the poor
people. Yeah, these are poorer people that probably qualify for the free program anyways.
And I don't know what I'd call myself. Average middle class. I don't think I'm upper middle class. I'm probably just average middle class. I don't even go to one of these places. I go to an actual accountant. And for all you folks out there, shop around because my accountant is cheaper than H&R fucking Block.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
It's crazy.
A lot of them are. That's the other thing,
So, a lot of this information comes from a ProPublica article.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to add in that they threw in an update today, but following the publication of the story, the Taxpayer First Act is getting new scrutiny in Congress. The bill is before the Senate, where its sponsors are now disputing that it permanently bars the IRS from offering its own tax service. But legal experts disagree.
Yeah.
So there's some wording in there that they're trying to pretend like it doesn't say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it actually says that.
Yeah.
And the only people are getting hurt are the poor people.
Yeah.
And these poor people, they can get the free service. I guarantee there's a way to do it through the library.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There has
libraries
to be.
have computers. Look, all that tells me is H&R Block, because they're not promoting their free program, or grabbing them for some money, and they don't want to lose that gravy.
Yeah, no, that's all it
says
is.
To me. More fucking corporate greed.
But going back to the lobbying, if a lobbyist is giving you even $1, you should have no voice.
Yeah, it's a
in
conflict
that
of interest.
Sector.
It's a conflict of interest.
100%. All right, targeting. So this week I was up in Maine. I was flipping through the newspaper up there, and
talking about target practice.
Yeah, target.
This is Maine. Watch your moose.
I haven't seen one yet.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're hard to miss.
Yeah.
They make a really big thump if you hit them.
I don't think they thump. I think they just stop you.
Yeah.
But anyways, U.S. Senator Angus King is calling on the Internal Revenue Service to change how it focuses on people. Right now, the Internal Revenue Service is auditing more poor people than wealthy people, and they're focusing on like the poorer counties. So right now we're talking about, I apologize, Maine, Piscataqui and Washington counties.
Yeah.
Which have
I think it's Piscataquis.
Piscataquis.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking name. I
Yeah.
can't say it.
I wouldn't be able to live there because I could never write my address down for anybody.
Yeah, right.
That's for sure.
They're treated especially unfair because they rely more heavily on the anti-poverty earned income tax credit, the EITC. Now, the earned income tax credit is where you get to claim your kids and it ups your value or whatever, right? Something like that. I mean, we all get it, but
Yeah,
I don't pay
pretty
attention.
sure
I
it's
think
a
that's
deduction.
yeah, that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
it lowers your
My account handles that.
Yeah, mine
Honestly,
too.
I really don't know.
But one of the scams is that people claim children that isn't theirs. Illegal immigrants. I don't know how they file taxes anyways, but
I don't know.
they do it a lot. There's a whole. I went onto YouTube and there's a whole set of videos on this EITC fraud. So
There's just more ways, it's their tax dollars get stolen from people being dishonest.
yep.
But what's funny is they bitch about the poor. And, listen, I don't want to be robbed no more than anybody else. And I do get upset when people screw the government out of tax dollars because I feel that's why everybody pays more.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're focusing on the poor. How much do the rich
Well, here's the
steal?
thing. And I'll even count this as my headline hero of the week because it was talking about taxing the poor over everybody else. But really, right in the article, it says the only group with a greater chance of facing an audit than the poor are those earning more than $1 million annually. So the people who are owning the corporations,
Yeah.
they're actually getting audited more than the poor people, which makes sense.
Right.
Because when I first saw this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a rich basher. But
Right.
no. So the people getting left out are you and me. And
Yeah,
obviously some people way better off than us.
But we're paying the most too.
We're paying the most. And let's have a logical, honest, and I don't mind being the asshole discussion.
Yeah.
All right. So why would you go after the poor before you went after the middle class?
I'll tell you why. Because the middle class usually pays in or gets a very minimal return back. The more poor you are, the more credits. I see these people, they get $10,000, $12,000
And they put in nothing.
and they put in nothing.
Yes.
So to audit them would lower that number. It would cut fraud down. It would save money there.
Right.
More middle class people, the part that they're kind of leaving alone. A lot of these individuals, or most, are very ABC. Have a job, they get a pay stub and a W-2 from.
Yep.
They have a mortgage, they write off their mortgage interest. They don't have IRAs and money stuffed in over here and things. But the majority don't. Some do. But that's also the class that pays the most taxes.
Well, on top of that, going back to the mortgages,
yeah.
they also have stuff to lose.
Yeah.
So are they going to be more likely to follow the rules?
Yeah.
And yes, their accountant may throw something in there that they didn't realize that they couldn't count.
Right.
You fix that. But you also have more to lose. You have your house,
Yeah.
your car,
Yeah.
your job.
You have physical property that
So
you're
you're
working
gonna-
on paying for that you could actually lose.
You're going to follow the rules a little bit more. But when you find out you're poor and you made $5,000 this year, but you can get $10,000 back,
Yeah.
and then add that onto your WIC and your
Yeah.
Social
Everything else that
Security,
you qualify for.
you're going to take a chance. And I know people who are middle class, but they spend so much money or there's so much debt because they have so much child support.
Right.
They find people's kids to claim,
Oh, yeah.
and they're not even related to them.
Right.
So this is why they're getting audited. But
If you're, listen, here's the thing, they don't just audit. Listen, they're not just picking a number out of a hat. All right. When your tax return gets mailed in or sent in or electrically sent in, it goes into the system and it can get flagged.
yeah,
And these returns are getting flagged. There's something going on that's flagging the return.
and these scams are so prominent that in etax.com PSA
Yeah.
on YouTube, you can find it on YouTube. I'm going to play a clip from it right now. But they talk about in this PSA why you may have been audited for, throwing your children's social security number on there. And it's because somebody else has used that social security
Right.
number. And then that person because they filed before you, it automatically goes to them, and then you have to file a whole new piece of paper saying that somebody falsely
claimed one of your kids.
Right. So yeah, listen to this e-tax thing real quick.
If you claim a dependent and another taxpayer lists the same person as their dependent, the IRS is likely going to reject your tax return. The IRS will process the return of the person who files first and assume legitimacy. If the other person files before you, they will receive the benefit of the dependent.
And that's just one PSA. I mean, there's hundreds on there. There's individual people on YouTube. You just type in the earned income tax credit fraud.
Right.
And there's all these people posting on there how somebody else, a lot of the times they say it's illegal immigrants, but who knows?
Right.
Have used their children's social security number before they could get it filed. So it's not false. I mean, it's not like going after the poor. It's actually happening. And the wealthy are getting getting audited.
And for people that say, "Oh, that don't happen," listen, I know kids that have phone bills in their name. They're not even old enough to have a phone.
Yeah,
you know, that stuff goes on. Power bills, all kinds of shit.
This happened to somebody I know. His father used his social security number for NIMO, and then the Navy was like, "Yeah, you can't join the Navy." And he was like, "Why can't I join the Navy?" And they're like, "Because your dad used your because your social security number is connected to this bill. You're a risk."
Yeah.
He's like, "I've never had a NIMO bill. I'm 18."
Right.
And the Navy went after his father.
Oh, no shit.
So there's no bullshit in there.
Yeah.
You know?
That's crazy shit, man.
But here's an answer to that. End write-offs.
Well, you can, but again,
just do a set amount.
As a business owner, there's just legitimate things that, should be written off. I mean, you'd have to tax less.
No, that's the point.
Yeah.
So here's the counter argument. We tax so much now because of so many write-offs.
I agree with that.
So the government's not getting the money they need because all these people find loopholes, tax credits, write-offs.
Right.
So then they write off more, then companies like Amazon don't pay a fucking dime.
Yeah, that's just so ridiculous.
You have to raise the rate, and then they find out more write-offs. No, just cancel the write-offs, bring the percentage back down.
Yeah.
Which you cancel the write-offs and bring the percentage down. Everybody's still going to be paying what they should be. Well, if the right person creates the percentage.
I was going to say more people are going to pay what they're supposed to pay versus some not paying at all. Some, listen. I'm not saying somebody who makes $50,000 a year should pay, a crazy amount of tax.
Right.
I'm saying the company that makes $10 billion a year should pay more than no tax.
Yeah, and so let's jump right into that right now.
Yeah.
So this week, Amazon called out Walmart about pay. Yeah. Bezos, quote unquote, issued a challenge to other retailers without actually saying Walmart's name.
Walmart probably pays it.
And to match Amazon's pay and benefits. So Walmart's vice president, Dan Bartlett, tweeted, "Hey, retail competitors," doing the same thing Amazon did without actually naming names.
Right.
He goes, "Hey, retail competitors out there, you know who you are. How about paying your taxes?"
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk about this minimum wage. Walmart's quote unquote minimum wage is $11 an hour, and it was set in January 2008. Bezos changed Amazon's to $15 an hour in November. Now, this right off the bat is misleading because these are different industries with some crossover. Bezos is not actually in the retail business.
Correct.
He is in the grocery product distribution business.
Yeah.
So let's take a little second to go to where these companies cross over. And I just went to glassdoor.com, just typed in hourly pay for Walmart truck loaders.
Yeah.
That's a good combination.
Oh, yeah.
The average worker earns 17.55 cents an hour in wages and benefits, which means the actual hourly wage is less. But according to glassdoor.com, the typical Walmart truck loader salary is $16 an hour with an average total pay of $34,650. Now, on top of that, you add in the benefits to this, and Bezos is just, blowing smoke out his ass. Because right there, the $16 an hour is higher than Bezos's 15.
Right.
But what Bezos does, and what everybody does, is they look at the the one section and they just focus on that number.
Yeah, of course they do.
There's a reason why the cart pusher only makes $11 an hour. You go to our local Central Square
Right.
Walmart, $12.75. There's a sign out there today. I was there today. $12.75 an hour to get hired for their lowest position, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing. There are different levels. Not everybody deserves the same amount of fucking money.
Right.
Anybody who thinks that everybody deserves the same amount of fucking money, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes no sense.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. So Bezos is already wrong. But on top of this, I'd like to talk about, until recently, Amazon was under fire for being one of the most horrific companies to work for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course it was. I remember.
They were talking about, like, no breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not allowed to take a vacation day. You get fired for nothing.
Oh, yeah. Strict.
So what Bezos is doing, he's trying to take a little of the heat off of his tax paying, by throwing this out at Walmart, because it is tax season. So, of course, they're going to be in the newspaper for everything.
Right.
Instead of just keeping his fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
Not realizing that Walmart's going to come back with, hey, you didn't pay any taxes. Let's remind everybody about this.
Yeah, exactly.
But the truth is Walmart doesn't, everybody thinks Walmart just pays the minimum amount, and they don't. But if you're in the minimum position and you're just starting, you don't make the same amount as a manager.
I would hope not.
And if you're just stocking a shelf, a couple items a day at like
right,
a pound a thing.
Not making the same as the butcher.
Right. And you're not making the same amount as the truck loader.
Right.
And if you're not delivering that product and dealing with the mass holes and
mass holes,
kinetic cunts.
Yeah, Jesus.
You don't deserve what a truck driver makes.
Right.
It boggles my mind. We always talk about this, but let's bring this back to taxes since it is tax day.
Let's just mention Amazon made $10 billion and paid nothing in federal taxes.
Well, I'm going to push back on you a little bit. Because $11 billion in profits.
Yeah.
And they got a $129 million tax rebate for an indefinite amount of time in the future.
That's
for
bullshit.
Things that weren't profitable. And that's how they keep paying zero, is because they have all that time in their history that wasn't profitable, and there's no cutoff on that, which there should be. Once you start making a certain amount of money, you don't need that rebate.
Yeah.
So they paid $0 and got a $120 rebate. Walmart paid more than $3.2 billion in federal corporate income taxes.
Yeah.
So what do you got to say now, Bezos?
Yeah, nothing.
Because at least Walmart's contributed to our society.
Yeah, they're contributing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we all know I like Walmart.
Yeah.
But... So
just the superstore, though. Let's be clear on that. He doesn't like a regular Walmart. He likes his Walmart superstore.
Superstore. Super centers.
Yeah,
centers.
He can get a DVD, a bench to sit on, some popcorn, and some steaks, all in one shot.
The last company I used to work for, if you worked a certain amount above rate, they gave you a Walmart gift card. And after 5 weeks, if you consecutively hit rate, you got $20 on top of your $5 Walmart gift card that kept adding up,
right.
And they'd pay you out once you broke your streak or you got to $520.
Right.
So once you got to $520, that was the max, and then every 5 weeks you got a $520 gift card.
Nice.
I went to super centers. I did all my shopping. I'd walk out with 2 carts. I'd have all my groceries. I'd have all my dry stuff. So speaking about spending money, what should you do with your tax return? And this week, we're going to say take your wife, your significant other out to dinner. Because tipping has been somehow a big thing this week. And I think it's because it's tax season. So they're trying to hint people to go out. And what is the proper etiquette on tipping? So is it $10? Is it 50, or is it 10%, 15%, 20%? What is the proper etiquette on tipping for you?
I do 20% round up. If they're a good server. So.
I usually do 20%. My wife hates it.
Why?
Because, and I agree with her. Why does every single waiter or waitress deserve 20% on that tip? And I sat there and I thought about it on what they actually did for me.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and out of their tip, they're taking 20% and they're splitting it with their help staff and the bartenders.
Yeah.
So they've walked to my table, they've set it down, and they've come back before I've even taken a bite to annoy me and ask me if it tasted good. You know what? I haven't fucking tried it yet because you just walked around my table and asked me if it was
or you
good.
just put it.
And then they've forgotten me
Yeah.
for the rest of the evening. So my drink's gone dry.
Right.
So does that person deserve 20%?
No, you don't give them 20%.
You don't give them 20%. Now you're on Instagram as a fucking asshole
So
for not
what?
tipping them. I agree. I don't give a shit
I don't
either.
give a fuck. I would be like, yeah, I didn't tip that bitch. She sucked.
But here's my topic for thought right now. Say you are making Bezos's $15 an hour. All right?
Yeah.
So it takes a while for you to save up to take your family of 4 out to dinner. All right? I'd say a month and a half at least of actually saving to pay $100 bill because you're paying for four people. So now you get that $100 bill and you tip them 20%. That's $20. You take 20% out of that $20 to give to the help staff. That's $16. You just paid that waitress, and you've probably only been there an hour, and she's probably only helped you for 10 minutes, if that. So you just paid her $16 for 10 minutes worth of work, whereas you're only worth $15 an hour. Now you're going to say the same thing I always say. Well, become a waiter or waitress.
Yeah.
Not everybody can.
Yeah, that's true.
Not everybody can, and not everybody can tip 20%. And
Canadians never tip 20%. I've got friends in this industry, and especially down in Florida. You know, the snowbirds come down, and they just don't tip. You know, I don't know if they just don't grasp it what it is, and you know if they pay their wait staff more and Canada.
That's the other thing. So on top of your $16 that you just tipped this person, they already make, it's not minimum wage, but they already make an hourly salary.
Right.
And you're not the only table they're covering for that hour that you were there.
Well, back in the day, it used to be like $1 something an hour that they made.
Right. And it's more now.
I think it's probably closer to that $4 or maybe
4 or
more,
5.
I'm guessing.
But they're serving 4 tables, 5 tables. That's why they've forgotten about you. Yeah. Everybody's tipping 20% because the etiquette says that we have to. And that's a bunch of bullshit. That's funded by somebody who used to be a waiter. All right. We tip 20% because we feel that other people are going to look down on us if we don't pay 20%. It's a status symbol, but to look down on somebody who wants to take their family out to dinner and they can't afford, but $5, 5 people just paid that person $5. That's $25. That person still made $16 an hour on top of their hourly wage.
Right.
That is not bad. Stop telling me that people are poor tippers. You're just a greedy waitress.
Right.
I have no fear of saying that you can handle your job for even if I only gave you $5, especially if you're shitty.
All right. I went to a place where the prices were more. And there was no tipping.
So,
and it wasn't
last year. I went down to my best friend's house in Long Island. We went out to dinner, and we ordered like oysters and stuff like that. It came out to like $260.
Yeah,
I gave the person like 15% tip, and my buddy was like, "No, that's not enough," and he threw an extra 50 down. The person literally walked 4 plates out. 2 plates of oysters and refilled our cups twice. Yeah. It was a little hole in the wall thing in a strip mall. Why does this guy need $75 for an hour's worth of work?
I don't know.
A lot of it is just status and looking cool in front. And that's another thing I looked up. So hot waitresses, they get bigger tips. Hot, pretty females, they get hired more in these restaurants.
Yeah.
A lot of this is just, especially, and I know this is sexist, I don't give a shit, men showing off to young, pretty women. And then the young, pretty women getting used to that. And then when they get somebody who's only like, I can only afford $5, going on a Twitter, Instagram fucking terror fest about it.
Yeah.
And another way you go on Instagram and Twitter, you see all these girls taking pictures. They're like half naked now. And then they flip out when somebody's not on their Patreon tipping them. There's girls on there like, this is my Amazon shopping list. Go buy me something.
Oh my God.
This is where we're at nowadays, but this is the same thing to me.
Yeah.
I get it. You're doing a job. There's no way your job requires more money than my job.
No, I get, listen, when when the bill's heavy, but I do see a lot of places though. I noticed you mentioned that, a lot of upper end places will already put 15% in.
Yeah.
And now
and I think that should be illegal too.
Now some of these companies, what I do, there's a Japanese restaurant that myself and my wife go to, and I notice when we pay for lunch and it comes, it has several boxes you can check. You can check 10, 12, 15, 18, 20, and 23%, or you can write in your own tip amount.
Yep.
So a lot of them, so it's already suggestive.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is. And in one of the other videos I did see this week that I kind of liked, it says how to save $400 by tipping properly. So what they're saying is everybody just does the 20%.
Right.
And I don't know how much you're going out. This must be some like fucking New York City article or something.
Yeah.
$400. Saving $400 just on tips, you're going out way too fucking much.
Yeah.
Cook a steak at home.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. New York State's what, 8-point-something%
Yeah.
tax in like food restaurants and stuff. Take that tax, double it. That's 17% right there.
Yeah, because it's anywhere from 8.25% to 8.95. It depends on what county.
But still, that's 18% tax or
On a-
18% tip.
Yeah.
And it's quick and easy. You don't have to do the decimal point thing. You just double your tax.
Yeah.
You're still within the window.
On a big bill, it adds up. I mean, if you're, if your top is generating $100 bill, you got 10 tops, they're all generating $100 an hour. It's $1,000 an hour, right?
I think these people just need to come back down to reality and understand that people are going to tip you differently.
Yeah.
And if you're an asshole, you're not going to get a fucking tip. You don't deserve a tip.
Well, yeah, if they're
my-
assholes, you don't give them a tip. It doesn't matter what the bill is.
Yep.
If it's bad,
And if they're amazing, give them a huge tip.
Yeah.
One of those crazy ones like, wow, that guy just gave me $1,000. But somebody who's just trying to feed his family is not going to be able to do a 20% tip all the time.
Then don't do a 20% tip. I'm just saying, don't be a cheap fuck either.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a cheap fuck.
No, cook your fucking dinners at home. Save
Yeah.
$400.
No, I hear you.
Well, that's our show. I'm your host, Ben.
I'm Rick.
And we'll talk to you again next week. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Remember to subscribe to the Purple Politics Podcast to keep up to date with all of the headline heroes. Did we get something wrong? Find us at Rick and Ben on Twitter or Purple Politics Podcast on social media. Our complete show notes with links to the articles and videos discussed can be found at purplepoliticspodcast.com. Music in this episode was written and performed by Jahzzar and is titled Magic Mountain. Editing of this episode was done by myself, bfranke, and all research was done by myself and Rick Eldred. Thanks for listening.